Have you ever noticed how in this industry, people untimely meet their demise as soon as somebody else seems like they're having a problem? Have you ever seen that before?
Well, there was, of course, the case of one of his other ex-girlfriends, Kim Porter, who died of pneumonia at a very young age. You just referenced your own situation with pneumonia that you believe was deliberate poisoning. Do you believe that may be what happened to her?
This is the most disturbing interview I've seen all year. And yes, it's about Diddy. Human trafficking, blackmail tapes, even Jamie Foxx being poisoned. It's all in here. And the man spilling it all says the FBI showed up at his house because someone wanted him dead. Let's break it down, and trust me, this one goes deep.
Why are so many people coming down with pneumonia? Why is that happening to everybody? What is that about? Where have you ever seen this many cases of pneumonia associated with one situation? So,
There were rumors.
I'm not saying.
Well, I was going to mention on this that there have been rumors circulating online that Diddy may have poisoned Jamie Foxx, which caused his 2023 hospitalization. In his Netflix show, he compared Combs to the devil in revealing his near-death experience after a brain bleed and stroke. He said, I say this all the time. I saw the tunnel. I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel. I thought, shit, have I gone to the wrong place? I looked up the end of a tunnel and I thought I saw the devil saying, come on. Or was that Puffy? I'm effing around, but if that was Puffy at a flaming bottle of Johnson, and no, I'm just kidding, I think that you have taken that to be a not too oblique reference to the fact that he's suggesting he may too have been poisoned.
Jamie Foxx said out of his mouth that his partner handed him an Advil, and after he took that Advil, he woke up 22 days later. That's what he said out of his mouth. I feel like us as a species, I feel like human skepticism has become a virus, because if we don't trust the words of our peers, where are we as a species? Eyewitness testimony and circumstantial evidence is enough to get a person a life sentence in any court on the earth. Why is it that when people are whistleblowing and putting their life and livelihood on the line, they receive so much scrutiny? I don't think that's by chance.
I mean, why would Diddy want to poison Jamie Foxx?
If you know that you have, well, just to give some insight to people watching, when you come under federal investigation, they send you a target letter. You get informed that you're being investigated. So if you wanted to tie up loose ends and you were concerned that people that you knew could incriminate you, you may have interest in eliminating them. We've seen this all throughout history.
I mean, this sounds kind of mafioso stuff, but I sense that you're talking from a lot of experience here, that you genuinely believe this is a highly dangerous situation involving a highly dangerous man with very dangerous people acting on his behalf, potentially.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely speaking from experience. This is definitely a highly dangerous situation because this guy was the middleman. He was the party guy. He was the person who lined up the parties and festivities for a lot of guys a lot more wealthy and affluent than him. So, I'm a person who believes that the Epstein's list is very similar to Diddy's list. I'm a believer in that. And, whenever it comes to protecting women and children, I'm going to be fierce. Big ups to my sponsor, Stallion Gear, for putting up funds to help us go out and help people. I want to salute Michael Franzese because he's probably the only famous person who donated to our campaign for protecting women and children, going down to the orphanages and passing out toys and gifts. Because at the end of the day, us as men, we must learn to police ourselves in our own community, because if not, these type of activities will continue to run rampant. I know this situation is dangerous. I've had several attempts on my life throughout my career. And, where there's one dangerous guy, there's a group.
P. Diddy was the party guy, just like Epstein. He moved in the same circles, rich, powerful people using their money and influence not to lead, but to exploit, to control, and to blackmail. They get others to do the dirty work, throw depraved parties, provide twisted services, and then keep the footage to hold power over them. That's not celebrity culture. That's organized corruption. And the saddest part, there are people out there willing to sell their soul, their morals, even their manhood, just for a shot at fame. Because in this sick system, fame has replaced purpose and power replaced principle. I just don't get it. Why can't people just do the right thing? What does it say about our society when the rich and powerful can rape, kill, sell drugs, and poison people, and get away with it? And meanwhile, the FBI isn't chasing justice, they're chasing control.
You referenced earlier, I have a history of heinous acts against people who behave like that. What did you mean by that?
Well, there's a lawsuit that I'm listed in where allegedly I quipped Combs about his sexual deviant activity, and I protected the plaintiff and pointed a firearm at Mr. Combs. That's what the paperwork says. They don't have their facts right, but, you know, I have a reputation for, maintaining a proper balance.
What was he doing, Combs, at the time?
Yeah, so that's all alleged. So, you know, they don't really got they don't have the facts correct with that situation. There's some sort of conspiracy going on because the same law firm that has brought this case, they tried to file this same case last year. They finally got it amended this year, and this same law firm was trying to pay me $5,000 to come talk on an interview. I turned it down, and then they filed this paperwork. You know, I firmly believe that this lawsuit was filed by people off his side to try to discredit me, other witnesses, and to try to get this current case that he's on thrown out. That's how deep this goes, because the law firm who brought this asinine case, nobody can seem to track them down. How can they have this case amended? Who has the finances to file this type of lawsuit? You know, I got to pay Ed Zappia $15,000 to represent me in a case like this while this trial is going on. Something weird is happening.
But just to be clear, was there an incident where you witnessed somebody who was being abused or about to be abused or had been abused by Diddy, by Sean Combs, and you intervened and warned him to stop?
Definitely.
And what can you tell me about that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the thing. Like, it's an open case, so like I can't really expound too much on that. But I've had several calls about this guy. You know, I've had several calls about his son. You know, people reaching under ladies' dresses, fondling them without asking for permission. You know, where did he learn this behavior from? Where would he learn that from? You know, legendary Dapper Dan said he grew up, he knew Combs' parents, and he said what's going on with Combs didn't start with him, it started with his family. The same things that I see when I'm battling trafficking cases. The most common enablers of this activity are close relatives, families, and friends.
Yeah. There are lots of rumors, as you know, swirling about Diddy and have been accelerated by what's happened to him. One of them is that he had something to do with Tupac Shakur's murder. Do you believe that?
Well, you know, when it comes to situations like that, you got to look at the list of facts. There's a guy by Dwayne Keith Davis who's currently in a Las Vegas detention center, and, you know, he swears up and down that Combs promised him a payment to unalive the rapper, and the rapper became unalived. And, you know, FBI say Eric Von Zip intercepted the payment and kept it for himself. Like this, the paper trail wouldn't exist. If there's smoke, there's fire, Piers.
Other people say that Diddy was a Fed himself, that he was on their payroll. Do you think that's a possibility?
Well, you know, that's definitely a possibility, but oftentimes in my culture, being an African-American male, sometimes we can believe that we're bigger than the program. And the moment he decided to sue the liquor company Diageo, that's when all of the onset of these problems started. You know, when you offend a list of board of directors and all of them are richer than you can get the short end of the stick. And that's what we're watching happen here.
Big homie, we've all heard a lot about these freakoffs. Most people I've talked to say, well, there were layers of parties that Diddy would throw. There was the public one with all the glamour and all the celebrities and stuff, and then there'd be various layers ending up in the freakoff area, and that would go on sometimes for days and was extremely depraved, involved a lot of drugs, a lot of very kinky, depraved sex and so on. What can you tell me about the freakoffs? For those who don't know anything about this world, what was it about the freakoffs that is so fascinating to people, do you think?
What people have to understand is swinger parties exist. And that's exactly the lifestyle that this gentleman lives. He's a swinger. And swingers hang with other swingers. That's what it is. Like, the term freak off has become sensationalized by media, but what the true nature and name for this event is going to be called a swinger party, Piers. And that's what takes place. You people, partners sharing their partner, indulging in sexual acts. You know, as long as things are consensual, you know, what people do is their business. But if I'm getting a call because somebody's applying oppression on other people, that's when things become a problem. And, you know, I had sent in a video of the guy, Combs, walking around, collecting everyone's cell phone before they get onto a yacht to go party. Why do you have to collect everyone's cell phone before you go onto a party? He's collecting the phones himself. That's what I meant by there's layers to the party. You know, the first part of the event is going to be a normal socializing mixer. But, you know, when the guy comes out collecting phones, that's when things are about to get, that's when somebody's cake's getting touched. This is how it goes. It's a zest apocalypse right now, man. We got to do something about this.
Is there any doubt that he was bisexual? Did he? That seems to be clear from a lot of the evidence that's come out.
Yeah. All of these guys are when it comes to that. Like, I've very rarely seen any straight dudes in this industry, man. That's why I pivoted my business. Like, it's like, you know, I don't want to be the only straight man at the party. So, you know, I got to change it up. All of these dudes are, man.
But
all of them are.
And the freak.
So let's be real. A bunch of bisexual weirdos and compromised elites basically run Hollywood and the power circles. No wonder the system is falling apart. It was built on illusion, blood, sin, and other people's suffering. It's not just corruption, it's a culture of perversion and pain, where people sell their souls just to get a taste of fame or power. We're in a time where innocence gets ignored and evil gets protected. And if that doesn't make you question humanity, I don't know what will. So let me ask you, do you think Diddy's walking out a free man? Is he going to prison, or will they silence him for good? Drop a comment. I want to hear your take. And if you like content that pulls back the curtain on corruption and power, smash that like button and subscribe, because this freak show, it's far from over.